Hi and welcome to episode 1 of this video series all about running. So today's topic, we are going to talk to you about 3 tips to make sure you get the most out of your running straight away. Okay, so number 1 is your breathing. Okay, so we're just going to do a little exercise now. Okay, so what I want you to do is just want you to find your heart rate on your wrist. Okay, just become aware of that so you can feel that, found it. And from there, we're just going to have 10 seconds now where we're going to breathe in and out as fast as we can. Okay? Let's go. Okay, so what you'll feel just over that very short period of time is that your heartbeat will have increased quite dramatically. Okay, and that hasn't happened through any exercise you're doing. It's only come about through your breathing. And this brings us on to the most important thing with the breathing is that when we run, your breathing needs to match the intensity of your running. Now, all too often I see with amateur runners them trying to run and go out to run for distance, and they're breathing as if they're sprinting for their lives over 100 meters. And ultimately what happens there is the tiredness from the breathing overtakes the exercise that you're doing. So to combat this, we have 3 breathing patterns that we use to start with to help us match the intensity of the exercise to the breathing. Okay, so we have 4-3, 3-2 and 2-1. And what that means, the 4-3 is we're going to breathe in for 4 steps and out for 3. And we're going to maintain that pattern as we're running. So this will just be like sort of a slow, just a nice easy jog. 4-3, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3. We then progress from there and we go to a 3 and a 2. Okay, so that's when we're now a little bit faster and we're breathing in for 3 and out for 2. So in, 2, 3, out, 2, in, 2, 3, out, 2, and so on. And finally, when we're pushing sort of into, a fast pace where we're sort of up at about 90% of our maximum, we're then breathing at 2 and 1. So in, 2, 1, out. In, 2, out, in, 2, out, in, 2, out. Okay. So those 3 very simple breathing patterns will have an effect that allows you to match the breathing you're doing to the intensity of the run you're attempting. Okay, and this brings us on quite nicely to number 2. And number 2 is the cadence. Okay, so with those breathing techniques, people often then struggle to match the breathing to their footsteps for a 4 and 3, to breathe in for 4 and out for 3. And this is because their legs are moving too slow, the cadence is too slow. So the cadence is your foot strike, the speed of your foot strikes. So if we're working on foot strikes per minute, the vast majority of amateur runners I see are around the 120 second mark, 120 steps per minute, so 2 every second. Now, that's not fast enough for the 4 and 3, and you'll find with professional runners that their cadence will be up towards the 180 to 200 mark. Okay, so what we want to do when we start to do this and we increase the cadence that we're going to run at, we actually shorten the stride down a little bit and it just becomes a little bit faster. So instead of it sort of in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, in, 2, it becomes a lot faster. So it's in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3. Now this has an effect where you almost feel like you go from a run into a little bit more of a shuffle. It won't look like that, but it will feel a lot faster. And because of the shorter and quicker cadence that we create, it stops us from lifting the knees too high and ultimately putting more pressure through it as we take each step. We're not hitting the ground as heavy, and it means the joints won't fatigue as much, won't leave us with joint pain and the potential of some serious injury like stress fractures. Okay, so to sort of work on this, what you're best doing is getting on your phone. The App Store has a metronome app, which is just basically a ticking clock to the beats per minute that you set it to. So I want you to go out download that and put your earphones in and set that to a pace which feels about right for the pace that for your running technique at the moment. And then slowly as the weeks go on, just increase that by 10 beats per minute and take it up to about that 180 mark. Okay, so just to recap, number one, the breathing, where we go 4-3, 3-2, 2-1, and second of all, improving the cadence. Okay, finally for today, number three, this is very important, I see with a lot of runners, is don't become a one-trick pony and vary your training, vary the running that you're doing. All too often I see people that will start and they go out for a run and they maintain just one speed and each week try and go a little bit further or just continue doing exactly the same. Now, you don't want to do, obviously you don't want to do this. This isn't going to improve you as much as varying the type of running that you're doing. So later on in this video series, I'm going to go into a lot more detail with the types of training to do and everything. But just to run you through a few things, you've got your intervals where you could you up the pace for a set amount of time and then drop down to a recovery pace for a short and repeat that several times. You've got things like your Tabatas, which are very high intensity sprint workouts. You've got your sprints, you've got running on various terrain, you're going up and down hills and things, different distances, going out short sprints. Okay, so it's very important. You don't want to be that one trick pony that can run 10-minute miles for 50 minutes, because ultimately you need to improve from there. Doing that same thing is not going to help. So you need to start to incorporate different types of running into your training to see some great results. Okay, so to recap, we've just got there, we've got number one, the breathing, 4-3, 3-2, 2-1. Second of all, we've got the cadence, so we want to be increasing that and to get it up to around the 180 beats per minute mark. And finally, vary your training. So go out this week and do some different runs to what you would normally do. Whatever it is you normally do, throw in a training session or two where it's something completely different. Okay, so really, that would be the call to action. Work on those three things before next week's video, where we'll take you into some more detail about the different types of training and how that will improve. Okay, in the meantime, if you've got any comments, feel free to put them in the box below, and you head to our Facebook page, iConquered, I-Conquered, which can be found at facebook.com/conquered.